Hello guys, Willem Petzer here. Today I want to talk about how the ANC changed its proposed bill on expropriation without compensation from that the courts will decide whether a person's property can be expropriated without compensation to that the so-called executive will have full and absolute power to expropriate a person's property with no compensation. Now this executive committee is basically the president and a few people that the president chooses. This will give the ANC and the government of the day full power to expropriate anyone's property without compensation, without going through any process at all. Basically, that the so-called executive can just sign a form and the next day your property belongs to the state. This is probably the most important video that I have ever released on this channel, and this will definitely wake up the people who are not awake yet on what's going on in South Africa, especially in terms with expropriation without compensation. This really is a video that should be watched by everyone, and you have to share this with everyone you know who has any interest in South Africa or its economy. In the previous proposed bill of the ANC, it reads as follows. By the substitution in subsection 2 for paragraph B of the following paragraph, subject to compensation, the amount of which and the time and manner of payment of which have either been agreed to by those affected or decided or approved by a court. Let's take a look at what the ANC says now.
The African National Congress has given the lead to say no to that formulation, that power should be given to the executive. And that's why we are calling on all other political parties and to all South Africans to make their input so that when we sit as parliament, now we must be guided by the will, aspirations of the people of South Africa as a whole.
I see.
The earlier formula. Yeah.
Yes. So you are saying to me, Dr. Matsecha, the gazetted formulation of the bill is different from what you now want as the ANC. In the gazetted formulation, as I was showing in the slides now, the power to decide instances where the compensation will be zero rests in the hands of the courts. You, as the ANC, wanted to rest in the hands of the executive.
That's what the ANC is saying. And we are saying that this is not an ANC process. Other political parties must make their inputs. And the people of South Africa as a whole must make their inputs so that Parliament must be guided by the will of the people of South Africa as a whole.
So as you can see here, this will give absolute power to the president to decide whether your property will be expropriated. We have to note that this property that can be expropriated does not or is not limited to land or houses or real estate. It can be any property. It can be your car, your house, it can be the money in your bank account, it can even be intellectual property. So this tells me that there's only one solution left for you as an individual to do right now. You have to look at yourself and your family right now and save your money and save your property. And the only way that you can do that is to move your money out of the country as soon as possible. Now, many people think that only rich people can move their money to so-called tax havens like Monaco or Switzerland or other countries like these, even Mauritius, are but mostly for the upper class South Africans. But there is an option which I did a lot of research on that can help any middle class South African save their money and put it in a safe place away from the government. I would recommend anyone to move their money to Botswana. The reason why I would do this is because in the first place, Botswana is a very, very libertarian country with very good tax laws. And it's also very easy for a South African to move their money there. And it's also very easy to move property into the name of a company in Botswana, which would be safe from the South African state. Even your car can be property that will be moved to Botswana, or you can buy a car there. I know a very good company that can handle all of this for you. Register a company in your name in Botswana, open a bank account for you there, and help you to move your money and property there. The company is called the Swiss Africa Group. I personally know the owners of the Swiss Africa Group. One of them, Dani Goosen, is really one of our people, a great guy, and he will help you a lot. And his partner is actually a citizen of Switzerland. They can move your money to various different countries, but Botswana is the one that probably will work the best for most South Africans. I have made a deal with the Swiss Africa group that any of my viewers who view my videos can go to them and get their services at a discount of 10%, which is really not very expensive, because doing all of these things, opening a bank account, opening a company, etc., will only cost you around 500 to 700 US dollars. Now, I think this is really something that every single South African who wants to take care of their money should do. I myself did it as well. You can contact the Swiss Africa group at their Pretoria offices at +27 12 811 0609, or you can email them at info@botswanaconnect.com. I would highly recommend you sending them an email right now and ask them how they can help you and how they can help you move your money out of the country. The greatest benefits of doing this and moving your money to Botswana is the following. You will put your money in a stable US dollar bank account. We all know what happened to Zimbabwe with the hyperinflation. You could have 1 million rands today in the bank, and tomorrow you still have 1 million rands in the bank, but you can't even buy a bread with 1 million rands. The other great benefit of this is that if you use my name as a referral, you will get 10% discount on the costs of getting a bank account and a business registered in Botswana. So South Africa's economy is already in a horrible state, and I can guarantee you it's only going to get worse. Before the ANC even made these announcements, the International Monetary Fund predicted that South Africa will have a meager growth of 0.8%, which is absolutely horrible. They predicted a 0.7% growth in 2019, but what happened in reality was only 0.4%. These numbers are absolutely horrible. Also, at the end of last year, Moody's, one of 3 credit rating agencies in the world, ranked South Africa's economy on the brink of junk status. The other 2 already downgraded South Africa to junk status, and I am confident that Moody's will also do that in the following few months. The rand is already on a downward spiral, as well as the South African economy. And when these bills get passed, I can guarantee you things will go down the drain very, very fast. So I highly recommend that you try and save yourself and save your family's money, everything that you have, and get it out of the country. Even your investments are not safe because the state can expropriate that as well. According to the new amendments to the Constitution as the ANC currently, it is very telling if we look at the rest of the interview why the ANC first proposed the amendment to the Constitution in which they said that the courts will decide on compensation, to the fact that the ANC or the government itself will have absolute power to decide. Take a look at this.
The earlier formulation was to ensure that we reach consensus. Otherwise, we would have created controversy and we would not have been able to gazette the bill, and that would have derailed the process, and we didn't want to derail the process.
So the ANC is very, very honest here. They are telling us that if they propose from the start the EFF's proposal that the state will have absolute power, it would have probably not worked. It would have caused too much of a turmoil, and their proposed amendment would not have gone through Parliament. That's why they created this seemingly moderate approach to it, where the court will decide on your compensation or whether you will have zero compensation. What a sneaky way by the ANC right here. When they were asked why they have this new plan, listen to what they say here.
Isn't it sneaky though, Dr. Motshekga? Isn't it sneaky that you give us one bill that is the basis for people making written submissions, and then, you know, as I would say in South African parlance, jiggy, you are suddenly talking about it's not going to rest in the hands of the courts, it will rest in the hands of the executive.
You know, we have the experience that the court processes are arduous, they take time, they require resources, but the executive is a democratic government elected by the people of South Africa. They represent the people of South Africa, and they must govern.
So this guy is actually admitting to the fact that the ANC don't want the courts involved because they know that people can drag the process out, people can fight the process in court, they can fight the proposed expropriation of their property in courts, and the ANC don't want that. The ANC wants to be able to expropriate any property at a moment's notice without being answering to anyone. This is an absolutely ridiculous thing happening, which will put us on the exact same path as Zimbabwe. And I'm not even being alarmist here. This is word for word, literally the exact same thing that happened in Zimbabwe, where people's property were just taken without giving them anything in return. And one day you still have a farm, the next day the state owns it. One day you still have a house, the next day the state owns it. This is absolutely ridiculous. I have named a solution that you as an individual can use to move your money overseas, but what can we as a collective do against this? I think the so-called DA or Democratic Alliance approach of trying to make South Africa in its current state work, building this idea of one South Africa for all, is quite clearly not going to work. If these are the things that the ANC are busy with, and if these are the things that the ANC wants to push, and they, together with the EFF, has an absolute majority of over 2/3 of parliament, it's not going to work going forward for South Africa. So we have to look at new solutions. And the only one that I can see is self-determination. I have read Dr. Flip Buys's book, Die Pad na Selfbestuur, which outlines a plan where we can work towards self-determination, and I would highly recommend anyone who can understand Afrikaans to read it. But we should also look at many other plans which can work towards this goal. We can look at Hein Marx, who had a very good interview on germ warfare. I hope to have him on the show as well. I also hope to have Dr. Flip Buys on here as well to discuss these things. And we have to look at possible solutions, how to get out of here. And the other thing we need to do is we need to really pressure the Freedom Front Plus, who are busy, or who say they are busy with self-determination, to actually follow through with their self-determination plans and get self-determination as is the legal right of every citizen in this country, according to the Constitution and also according to United Nations and international law. I think this is the only solution that we can work towards, and I also think this is the only solution that will be any good for anyone in South Africa. If you want to find out a lot more about this topic and you want to discuss it more in depth with me, tonight at 7, the 27th of January at 7 o'clock p.m, we will be having a live stream and discussing this in detail. See you guys there. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy these videos, please be sure to subscribe. And if you really enjoy them and you want to be sent my videos on WhatsApp, just send your name and preferred number to +27 71 567 7162. That's +27 567 7162. You have a great day, goodbye, and God bless you.